I also want to talk about how there was some talk about potentially the election going over an extra year.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening with that? If you want to just share your thoughts.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of, again, this is one of those issues that there's been a ton of misinformation about, and it's really sad to me. This was an initiative of one of our commissioners, and the initiative itself, or the idea, let's start with the idea. The idea is it better to have elections in odd number of years or an even number of years? What's the difference? The difference is in even number of years, a lot more people vote because it's piggybacking off a presidential election or a governor's race. What's the difference in that? Well, in an odd number year, you're talking about like 15% of the people will vote that are registered voters. In an even number year, you're talking about 60, 70, 80%. So it's a massive difference. So that's obviously good.
Yeah, I think like more people are paying attention.
More people than less.
Yeah.
The second reason is it saves approximately $1 million every other year, forever. Wow. So what's the value of saving $1 million every other year forever? It's a lot of money, right? Yeah. It's tens of millions of dollars, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. It's for infinity, so it's forever. So nobody doubts that it's a good policy, right? There was a third reason, which is we were trying to stagger the election with another reform that would have prevented someone like me, and it's not, I don't have anything against myself, but the current rules are, under the current rules, if they don't change, I could serve as mayor 32 out of the next 48 years. Okay, I don't think that's good. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's good. Right. The way the rules are is I could take a 4-year off, be mayor for 8 years, take 4 years off, 8 years. And if you do the math, that's 32 out of the next 48 years I could be the mayor. Mm-hmm. So this staggering of that year was gonna allow us to potentially put in that other reform that prevented people from being mayor or commissioner forever, for a large percentage of their lifetime, and having people that keep coming back. You know, we criticize the same names, the same last names of people that keep coming back for, you know, we have a guy that that's talking about running for mayor that was a commissioner when he was 29 years old in 1979. Mm-hmm. You know, is that good for Miami? I don't know. You know what I mean? If that's good for Miami or not. But this is an opportunity for Miamians to speak out on this issue. And it was important to stagger the elections because it would have had an impact on who could run and who could not run. So that was the third reason. It got controversial because of the method by which we did it. And the method which we did it was the method that we believed to be the proper method, right? So we're not the first city to do it. We're the fourth city to do it. Every single city before us had done it through an ordinance. In other words, through a law that they passed. That is a law that you pass in the council. So every single commission meeting, every single council meeting, sorry for the long answer, but this is like, you gotta explain this.
This is very necessary. Right. I feel like everyone needs to hear this.
Yeah, like every single commission meeting, you pass ordinances, you pass laws. Every so often, you have to put something on what's called the charter, which is the Constitution that requires a vote. But if we were to put every single law on the Constitution, when you would go to vote in November, you'd have to vote for 60, 70, 100 things. That doesn't make sense. What's the point of having an elected official if they don't make any decisions? Right. If everything you punt to the ballot, you're gonna have a 20-page ballot and you gotta sit there. You know, you're like, why am I hiring you? Why am I paying you? So we used the vehicle that was authorized by state statute and had been done by several cities. It was even challenged by one of the cities, legally challenged. And the court in that case upheld the city's right to do it. And the appellate court in that case ratified the city's right to do it. So we felt this is the way to do it. Like, this is the normal way to do it. It got very political, as a lot of these things do. Yeah. You had external actors getting involved. You had the candidates who themselves maybe didn't want to run next year because maybe they didn't think a higher participation election favored them, right? Where actually more people vote, a more democratic process. So they sued us. And it got very political. And I think, unfortunately, so far, the appellate courts have done the opposite of what they did in the other case and are now, doing that. So right now, the election is in November. We may at some point, depending on how the court rules, my hope is that the court will do the right thing, follow the state statute, follow their precedent, and determine that what we did was appropriate and the proper way of doing it, so that we can continue along this process. But if that doesn't happen for some reason, I'm happy to put it on the ballot I have absolutely no qualms about doing it that way. It's just the way we did it was more efficient, and the way that we thought it was the proper way to do it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's going to save the city a ton of money.
Yeah.
It's going to increase participation. I think 28 of the 34 cities are on an even year cycle. So we're one of the few that's not. Coral Gables had just done it a few months before us. Nobody criticized them. Nobody gave them a hard time. Nobody even noticed.
Right.
Other than the people that were doing it in Coral Gables. So it's sad that these things get political, and for whatever reason, someone who doesn't like us decides they want to chime in.
But that's why it's
politics.
That's why it's important to talk about it.
No, I thank you for the platform and the time, because it takes time to really explain it. Again, we live in a soundbite world. We live in a TikTok world. We live in a social media world where you put a flashy little video and you call somebody a dictator, or you say that somebody wants to just preserve their life. I was actually foreclosing on myself the ability to be mayor for 32 of the next 48 years of my life. I vetoed a pension that would have given me $6 million for the rest of my life. Nobody even talks about that. It's like, dude, if there's anybody that's sacrificed their future in terms of their family, and it's me. But very
and
people.
You've done a great job these 8 years. So it's not like we're messing with someone that hasn't done a great job and still wants to stay in office. It's like we're dealing with someone that's been doing great things, and 1 extra year, because of everything that you just explained, it can make sense.
And by the way, anytime you do it, somebody's going to get an extra year. Whenever you change from an odd year to an even year, that's an inevitable mathematical consequence of changing from one. It's just somebody has to get it. Yeah. You may not like the person that gets it. You could put it out into the future and some anonymous person, but it will be eventually a real person, and you may not like that person that year, right? So it's not about the person. It's about the policy itself, which is a good policy.